But in today's video, let's talk one of the rarest ways an airplane can crash, but it still happens to this day, and I refer to it as the ghost plane crash. Now, what happens here is a rapid depressurization in the cabin, or it doesn't even have to be rapid. I mean, check this out. We're in an A330 here in the beautiful cockpit. Everything is looking fine until we go to the failures menu and enter a slow or rapid depressurization. Doesn't even have to be rapid. So what happens now is here when we fail that is that our brains here is not provided with oxygen at all. And the X-Plane Flight Simulator is pretty good at, simulating that. Yes, as you can tell, the screen is turning black here as we are lacking oxygen. Only after 20 seconds, we have already lost consciousness. Now, very rapid depressurization is something that can happen sometimes, very easily can happen. But of course, because of that, oxygen masks are usually installed in the cabins, especially for the pilots. Very easy to place onto your head, exactly so that you don't sit in your plane blacked out. And this is now hypoxia we're dealing with. We're talking a ghost plane. Yes, perhaps this oxygen system might have failed, which just generally doesn't really happen. Now, the only way to save our plane now is through maybe like a hero flight attendant that, made it to the little oxygen bottle we had on the channel before. You might have seen it before. Yes, I'm pretty sure most of you guys will have watched the flight attendant video I made about this flight attendant simulator, in which there is actually a mission where you can save the whole ghost plane by going up to pilots and quickly giving them oxygen masks. You have to be really quick, because after 10 minutes without oxygen, your brain starts to genuinely die. So after 10 minutes of all this, the passengers are dead. And so the plane is now riding along and is now officially a ghost plane. ChatGPT calls it zombie planes. That refers to aircraft that continue flying on autopilot after a rapid decompression event that has incapacitated the crew and passengers. And so this is what happens now. We're in a very quiet plane that is now running out of fuel. That's kind of all that's happening at this point. Yes, this plane will probably go on to fly for hours. That's something that happens in real life as well with the ghost planes. This thing has 4 hours left of fuel in the tank. What if it doesn't? Let's go for 0 flight time normal cruise. Yes, there we go. The engines have now failed. I would love to see that information, but generally, the simulator is so good that it won't display us anything at all. This is generally a ghost plane. This is great. Now, really, the biggest example of this was the very, very sad Helios flight in 2005 of the 737 here that had pretty much the same thing going on. Depressurization, but no oxygen for the crew either. And so this plane was lost, and it was also, of course, followed by fighter jets because it went to fly on for several hours. A very, very recent event, but pretty much all heard of, was, of course, the 2022 Baltic Sea citation crash. Now, this was, of course, a private jet crash on a flight here from Parra here down in south of Spain to Cologne. And this is the very case of a ghost plane that didn't land in Cologne. It went on to fly further than its planned route. Yes, it flew all the way here northeast to the Baltic Sea, where it crashed in the sea in a little bit of a spiraling movement where it probably just ran out of fuel. And that's kind of how it happened to most ghost planes. Now, in this state, we're still in our A330. It is struggling to climb. But if we run out of fuel, it is very quiet. So we are losing altitude right now. And what the plane would normally do now is just, follow its flight plan indeed. So yes, this is something that still unfortunately happens. Let me see what just is going to happen to our ghost plane. So far, we have traveled quite a while. We started here in Sedona. We've traveled 60 nautical miles ever since. Let me go ahead and just change time here. Let's go ahead and go maybe twice the speed of the simulator. Here we go. Let's just gonna render it quickly. Now, at this point, of course, without ATC communication, there would be fighter jets right next to us all the way here to make sure to shoot us perhaps down before we crash into a big city, because that is one of the biggest problems, of course. At this point here in this A330, all the people on board would already be brain dead here in the simulator. We are very much brain dead here. So what's the point? So come on now. We are very much losing altitude right now here. here. Now we can see the plane starting to turn here to the left. It's actually starting to nosedive as well. Oh no. Yes, perhaps the spiral here that, you know, we had in the citation jet that crashed is happening here too. Let's maybe see. This is like the last moments of this plane here now at 11,000 feet. We have traveled a long distance so far, by the way. It's like another like 200-300 nautical miles. There you go, spiral. You know, it is pretty harsh to see the hard fate of a ghost plane like this, knowing it's happened before. I mean, let's talk MH370, the lost plane, where the biggest theory is exactly that. A loss in cabin pressure, then a loss in crew, a loss of people, and a plane that's become a ghost plane and just flies off. Maybe that was something that could have happened, even though it's probably the Chinese government. Anyway, yes, that's, you know what, that's actually been a pretty smooth landing while we're talking about. Okay, that's been totally crashed. There we go. A330's dead. Good. So, you know, this whole topic made me thinking a bit. I mean, you know, there are definite ways to prevent such a crash from this kind of incident. It's not that deep, I would guess. I mean, we have the solutions today with, for example, the safe return from Garmin, which is just a button to press and, you know, if the pilot falls, incapacitated. And then the AI autopilot takes over and decides where to land and, you know, how to, you know, avoid the situation. So let's maybe go ahead and try the same thing here with the pretty excellent Microsoft Flight Simulator AI. AI piloting turned on. Okay, there we go. This plane is now flown by the AI. Why does it put landing gear out at 35,000 feet? You know what? Maybe this technology might not be too ready, but it might be ready enough to save us. So let's go ahead and run out of fuel in this ghost plane now. I won't have control of this. And let's just have this AI glide this plane down to Switzerland, I would guess. So, you know, we are above Switzerland. This plane's got no more engines. Fuel is at 0. Let's see, is it gonna make it? So it has now decided to land here at Bern Airport, Bern-Belp, which is not the longest of runways, but will certainly do. You know, this is actually quite interesting now. We're letting the AI land this plane now. Now, you could make this automatically turn on, perhaps. I mean, there are ways to measure if the pilots are alive, maybe like heart tracking monitors. Even though these measures would be a bit too harsh considering there's, you know, pretty much no crashes with this kind of ghost plane incident. But you know, this is a great thing to talk about on the channel anyway. Come on, let's now see if the AI is going to save her day. It's real quiet up here. You know, this AI is not trained at all on flying without engines, so this should be interesting. Interesting things it's doing. So it's headed towards the airport. It's now trying to, as it orbiting, it hasn't realized the engines have died, has it? I'm not quite sure. Come on, let's do this. We're not that far from the airport. Come on, make it turn, make it proper, please. Come on, land. You have to turn right. Why isn't it turning right? The stupid AI. Where is it flying? Where does it think it's flying? You need to head to the damn airport. Oh, wow. Yeah, the AI is really not good at this. You know, everyone could have made this. You know what this video showed me is how much of gliding distance you have from 35,000 feet, obviously. Several hundred nautical miles. Very nice for a safe operation, unless you have AI. Which maybe this whole video was useless. So yeah, guys, ghost planes, they very rarely happen and they don't even need a fix, even though I try to find one. Great. So what do you think, guys, so much watching this, you know, rather serious video of mine. You know, I rather don't like to talk about fatal crashes normally. This is a first timer, but thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, good night. Now, thank you very much to my highly supporting members like Jamie Ashton, Mike C, James Duram, Ragings, Met RLG, Matt Fan Z, Moritz, Bellhausen, Knots Enthusiast, Shadow, New the York, Ryland Williams, Kelly Chaos, John O'Brien, and I'm addicted to Airbus A380s. Thank you.